Welcome to It's a Woman's World, a show which discusses any and all topics under the sun from a woman's point of view. Hosted today by Ali Naithani, and here's Ali.
Welcome to the show, and before we get started, I want to introduce my co-hosts who are here with me today. Uma Janka is with us. Hi, Uma.
Hi, Ali. It's great to be here.
It's always good to be with you. And of course, Nadia Jordana. Welcome, Nadia.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, we're going to be talking about traveling and particularly about packing. And I am so excited about this because I typically pack I'm a last-minute packer the night before, wondering what do I bring, how much does it weigh? So we're going to get some good tips today.
Do you think it's only you, Ali?
Well, so it's not just me?
No.
This happens to you too?
I do the same too.
Okay, well, we'll all learn together then. All right, so let's introduce our guest. Our guest is Merle Minda.
Hi.
Hello, Merle. Merle is a freelance travel writer, and she's also a marketing consultant. Thank you for being with us today.
Oh, it's delightful. I'm glad to be here.
All right.
Well, Merle, would you give us a few inside tips on some things that we might want to know about packing?
Well, for one thing, I am a devotee of packing light. The days are gone when people travel with steamer trunks and so on, and even with big suitcases. You're just a lot better off if you're traveling light. It's just a lot less hassle on the front end and on the back end. And I'm a last-minute packer, too, so you do have to know what you're doing. So I did bring, this is a small suitcase in that it's the kind that you can take on the airplane and put up in the bin, or you can check it. One thing I just want to say is if you check your suitcase, do not ever put any jewelry, any medications, anything, any iPads, iTablets, whatever, in your suitcase because it's taking a big risk. You want to carry those things with you. So what I've done here is I've packed sort of the first layer, and I've put, I go by the pack one, wear one rule. So I'm wearing a pair of tennis shoes, which is the heaviest thing I'm taking.
I do that too.
Yeah, and I've packed a pair of dressy shoes, and in this case, I've also packed a little pair of sandals, because it's summer and sometimes you want to do that. I've packed a skirt, I've packed a warm cashmere type sweater with a zipper, which can also be used as a jacket, and I've packed a pair of slacks. And then you just go on from there. Some people roll these things up. You can do that. Here's 4 or 5 t-shirts.
Is folding better than rolling?
Well, some people roll, some people fold. And you know, depending what I'm taking, I make that decision. But some people pack in other kinds of ways where they lay out everything and then they fold it all up at once. I don't do that, but I find that this is a very easy way to pack. Then here I've got a couple pair of slacks, and I just want to say a word about jeans. If you want to take jeans, don't wear them on the plane. Very hard, even though they're comfortable. It's really hard to get through security in a pair of jeans. There's a lot of metal in a pair of jeans.
That's true.
So you're going to be stopped and wanted and searched and everything. So I packed those jeans. Over here I've got underwear, and there's still another whole pocket here that one could fill. Here's a couple of travel maps and books, which you can put in your outside pocket, an umbrella, and you're really ready to go. And I always say this is about a 5-day pack. And I always say that if you can pack for 5 days, you can go for 30 days. The other thing I just wanted to show briefly is that you want to put all your key things like your passport, your medications, your iPad, whatever, into some kind of a carry-on. This is one kind of a carry-on you can just take on the plane with you.
It's a nice size.
But there are a lot of them. Some people like a backpack, some people like a carry-on with little wheels. And the other thing I would recommend is that when you take a purse, in this case this purse fits into my carry-on, you want to be sure that it will go over and across your body, so that as you walk around on strange streets, you've got a hold, and you're much less likely to be ripped off. So these are just some basics, and when you sort of have that in mind, the other thing I was going to say, that when you're packing light, and there are huge advantages to packing light, you want to sort of build your wardrobe around a basic color.
I like that idea. I like that idea. Black is your friend, right?
Black is your friend, but you know, it could be navy blue, it could be brown, and then you take a couple pair of slacks or a skirt. In this case, I have a skirt here, and you build and you get your other colors with your t-shirts, with a scarf, and I like to recommend taking a pashmina scarf and taking that on the plane, because sometimes planes are chilly, and so it goes for a lot of things. You can wear it in the evening, and I don't. If you want to ask me a question about jewelry, I'll tell you my theory about jewelry.
Tell us.
Tell us,
yeah.
Okay, my theory about jewelry is leave it at home.
Okay.
Oh.
And I don't even take my normal wedding ring. I just put a plain gold band on. I take one pair of earrings, and if I'm going to a wedding or something and I need pearls or something, then I carry them with me in my backpack.
Now, why is that, Merle?
Because it's just so easy for jewelry to be taken from you.
I see.
And or if you're in a hotel where there's a hotel safe, you can put it in there. Cruises, for instance, have a safe in the room.
Okay.
But I just don't take a lot of jewelry.
And they get
I mean, what
lost,
do I
too.
care? Do I have to show off my jewelry to all these strange people? No, I don't. So I just take, you know, what I like, as long as it's not precious.
Okay. Okay. Now, you mentioned a cruise, Merle. So if you're going on something like a cruise, does
There's
that,
very less space, yes,
Yeah,
to
how do you
organize your stuff.
for
So
that?
Well, that's a little more difficult.
Yeah.
Really?
Because cruises have these dressy nights.
Yes,
And
they do.
there are people, you can get on these
Yes.
cruises, and there are people in these unbelievable formal gowns, and they want you to wear a tuxedo for the husband and the man. And we don't really follow that, even though we go to everything dressy. I take a pair of black silk slacks and a black silk shirt and my little pashmina shawl and my maybe non-precious jewelry necklace. And I might take two little tops like that and just change them off. And my husband takes a dinner jacket and a pair of good slacks and doesn't wear a tuxedo at all. And he looks just fine. I mean, to me, this is too much.
Okay.
You know, you've got to then you have to pack a really big suitcase. So you do have to take sometimes a little more on a cruise, and depending what kind of weather you're getting into. I know we went around the Cape of Good Hope, and we had to pack, you know, slickers and rain gear and
Which is something you might not think of.
yeah,
Right.
Alaska also. You have to really think about where you're going and what the weather's going to be and what you want to prepare for, because you don't want to be left unprepared. The minute you can certainly buy things wherever you are, but you know that takes time. It's expensive. And so I just try to be prepared and keeping it really light. I want to be able to carry my own suitcase, roll my own suitcase.
Okay.
If there's no elevator where I'm going, I want to be able to bump it up the stairs or bump it down the stairs, that kind of thing. You want to be sort of freelance with your luggage.
Okay.
but it's good that it works for you, but with the kids around me, with the teenager,
Yeah.
trust me, they don't like light suitcases.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I have
doing that?
4 grandchildren, and 2 of them are teenagers, and 2 are just below that age. They have their own rollerboard backpack. My little granddaughter has one that's pink with a bear on it, and you'd be surprised if you say, "This is your space. Take what you want." And
And they'll learn quickly, too.
they'll learn. And you have a much better time because, I mean, once we were traveling in England and our suitcases were too big, and we decided to go by train. Well, we were lugging those suitcases off and on that train. It was tough. And people were helping us, you know, so we learned our lesson. We said never again. And that's how I got into this whole packing light thing.
How often does luggage get lost, and what would you do if that happened?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, luggage doesn't get lost as much anymore because all the airlines have really got a computerized system. And I think I've only lost luggage once where it was really lost for 2 days, but it did appear. I'm trying to think where we were. I think we were in Spain, in southern Spain, in Granada, in some little tiny hotel. And we had flown into another city, but they did deliver it 2 days later. I went out and bought a T-shirt and washed out my underwear. So luggage does get lost, and you have to be prepared not to get hysterical about it.
Yes.
But usually it turns up. For the most part, it turns up. Of course, the worst can happen. And that's why you're carrying all your important stuff with you.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's really important.
I
If
agree.
you've got your your prescriptions,
Yes.
Oh, that's
that
very
I would want to
important.
keep
Yep.
with
Any
me.
of your electronic gear. It's not a bad idea to take an extra pair of underwear in your, and an extra T-shirt or
your
shirt.
purse. Yeah.
In your carry-on. I mean, does this make sense to you
yeah,
guys?
yes. Absolutely.
Definitely, because my mom, she lost her medicines last time
Oh,
because she put her prescription thing inside the suitcase, and we lost
Never,
the luggage.
never,
and
never.
oh my gosh! After
Yeah.
she came here, I had to take her to the. Here everything is different from India, right?
Right,
now.
and it's amazing how many people do that.
Yeah.
And they don't think. And also, luggage can get rifled through. That happens more than getting lost.
Does it
Yes.
really?
that's-
Yeah, because there are people sort of down in the bowels of these airports, and they're not all
to
perfect,
see
and
what's
so
interesting,
sometimes
sure.
this happens.
I-
There have been
I-
a number of cases.
I see. I noticed you also tied some distinctive ribbon around your suitcase. I don't
Yeah.
think our viewers
Yes.
could necessarily see that. But when you're at the, with your luggage, in this case, you wouldn't be at baggage claim, but is that for that reason? So you can quickly
Well, so you
identify?
can claim it quickly. I mean, there are so many black suitcases.
there
out
are.
there. I mean, some people go with purple suitcases, red
Yes,
suitcases,
yeah.
yellow suitcases, but I don't do that. But I find that Christmas wrapping is particularly good. Some of these ribbons that have sort of a stiff kind of feeling of their own. I once had a bellman at the airport put my luggage down the chute along with somebody else's luggage. He just, put that label on it, and I'm going, wait! And so he said, I'll go down and get it. And I said, well, how do you know what it is? And he said, I know you have that Christmas ribbon on there.
Oh, that works.
So he went down and he came right back with it, and we rechecked it. I mean, he literally crawled down the
Wow.
the moving whatever it is sidewalk.
The belt, yeah.
So these things happen, and you want to try to be really careful to avoid all these things. When you are checking luggage, I always check to be sure it's going to the right destination. And I always check to be sure I have my own ID on there. And then I always put ribbons on. And I put an ID inside the luggage.
I was going to
as
ask
well.
that.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a good tip.
That's a good tip. Yeah.
Because sometimes if luggage should be lost,
And if the tag should
and
get
if the
ripped off
tag should
somehow.
fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. What about if you're in a hotel room? Is there a better place to put your luggage? Because you hear about those bed bugs that are in hotel rooms.
you
these
hear
You
days.
always want to take a
Oh.
look at your bed
Yeah.
before you get into it.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
I think that hotels are pretty careful about these things now.
okay.
But you can look at your bed, and you can actually, if you see any tracks or any bugs, you change rooms
Mm-hmm.
immediately. I do put luggage on the floor of the closet, usually empty luggage, and I put my things in the drawer.
Oh, you do?
I do. My husband likes to put these plastic bags on the drawer first. So I don't do that, but he's a little more persnickety than I am.
I'm a little
And he's right
persnickety,
here, so he
too.
can
Yes,
confirm
I
that.
like that persnickety way.
You like the persnickety way? There are people, you can get a little spray,
Yeah.
and there are bed bug sprays that people carry, and you can
okay.
spray just to be sure.
Okay.
And they're in small size. And you do have to be careful when you're checking, at the airport, because you can't really take liquids through security.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
And is there something that you say that you should not definitely pack those? Definitely you should avoid packing during the trips. Is there something that you would say you'd have in your mind?
Well, I don't pack, as I say, any good jewelry.
Okay. Ms. Dean?
And even if it's not expensive jewelry, I would carry it with me, because I think people might take it not knowing.
Okay.
And of course, you have to be very careful about your liquid sizes, under
Okay.
3 ounces, and in a simple plastic bag.
Yes, yeah.
And there are, and nothing valuable,
Okay.
Oh, okay. So,
I mean, I even get nervous sometimes packing my maps and my travel book, but now with so many things online, you really don't have to worry about that
I
as
take a
much.
good camera. Can't avoid that.
Yeah.
Don't pack it.
Yeah, okay.
Carry it with-
Unless you're carrying the luggage on the plane with you, which is great.
Okay.
if you can do that. I'm not really good at putting things up anymore.
Okay.
My shoulders aren't up to the task, but most people are, and that's a great way to go, especially if you're changing planes. You know, and then if your plane is late or another plane is late, you have your luggage
You
with
have
you.
everything with
Oh,
you.
that happens.
Well, and Merle, I understand you have a blog. If someone wanted to learn more information about your travel tips and, and learn about your work, where would they find your...
Well, I have a travel blog. It's sort of neglected right now, but there's still a lot of good information on there. And it's at www.travelovereasy, all one word, .com. Just like eggs over easy. Travel over
Easy to
easy.
remember.
Travel over easy.
Well, thank you so much for that information. This was just a fun, helpful conversation. I'm going to remember these
Definitely.
tips next time I travel.
Thank you.
Good, I hope so.
Yes.
It will change your travel experiences. It really will.
It sounds like it will.
And travel light.
And travel light.
Travel light.
It's a new policy.
That's the way to go. Wear one, pack one.
Yep. We got it. We got it.
Yep,
Well,
got it.
we're going to switch our topic now, and Merle, you're going to stay with us as we do this. So
okay.
thank you for agreeing to do that. And this is a total surprise to me. I have in this envelope, I have a question that I'm going to pull out in just a minute, and then we are going to all discuss this. So I have no idea what this is. So let's see what we've got. Here we go. All right, here it is. You are a professor in the Great School of Life. What grade would you give to the male of the species, A, B, C, D, or F? Where would you give pluses and extra credits, and where would you give minuses and incompletes?
Oh boy, that's going to be interesting. So essentially, we're grading the male of the species.
Of the species, we're going to be grading the male. So,
Okay, well, let's
what are your
see.
thoughts?
You know, I don't think they deserve the low grade we sometimes hear on TV and all the talk around. I'd have to give my husband a fairly high grade because, and that's my point of reference, he washes floors without being asked. I'm so happy. He does he does most of his own laundry without my asking, and so he does dishes, and he likes to cook. So I'm going to give him a fairly high grade.
You're going to go, would you go A? Are you doing an A?
Well, I never give an A. I never give an A. But I'd give a B plus or an A minus, and then. But then when it comes to listening, that's back down to maybe a C, C minus.
Okay.
Aw.
What about you, Merle?
Well, I hate to say I have the perfect husband, but I sort of do. And he doesn't wash floors or do laundry, I have to say that. But he always says, give me the scullery tasks. He does dishes, he takes out the garbage, he makes the bed. He's one of those types, and he's just very dear about that. The big thing, I think, so I would give him about a B plus on that. But there's certain things he can't do. He forgets things on the computer, and sometimes he gets stuck with mechanical objects. The other thing, though, that I would give him an A plus 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 on is that he's a great listener and very, very supportive and loving. I think men in general, though, I think they sometimes have a long way to go in terms of treating women fairly and equally. And I think that we all know of those instances.
Yeah, especially if you start to go around the world.
Yeah.
Well, around the world,
There
we
are
have
countries
disasters
where-
around the world.
Yeah.
So
for
if we
women.
think more in general, more than maybe just of course, our sweet, important husbands, but more than that, in this conversation, just in general with males, would you say that we have a ways to go?
Definitely.
Yeah, I would have to say so in this country and around the world. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
One thing I notice is that younger men, and I'm in the business world also, and I think that younger men are much more into female equality than older men.
That's definitely true. That's
I
definitely
think that
agreed.
younger men are, they're doing their own typing on the computer. They're not sending secretaries out to get coffee, and I think that they've come up with a different sensibility, and I hope that continues to grow.
Yeah,
that's very true. You know, my dad's generation, my mom, she has to bring the coffee to my to the table for my dad, and she has to do almost, it's like take it for granted. My dad was like, will just sit there, and she has to bring the coffee, or she has to serve the dish, everything. So it's like a known thing. It's like she has to do it.
Does she mind doing that?
She doesn't mind, but she got used to it. It's like now custom, you know what I mean? But now it's not like that. Now younger generation, like you are the correct point. Younger generation, they are not expecting that at all. Even my husband doesn't expect, trust me. He's like, okay, I'll do it by myself. I'll bring my own plate and I'll serve to myself. And
but I think in that generation too, what's interesting is, you know, that's probably the role that your mom took at that time. And if I understand, if, you know, most, she was a housewife. That was her role in their relationship, and so I think quite aptly, you know, I think there's a certain beauty in that, though. I feel like there can be there's a certain because as somebody who loves to cook and feed my family, I don't mind those as long as the respect is there for me. If it's there for me, then I'm okay with it. And I agree with you, Merle. I think that we're seeing more of this younger generation be more aware and be more understanding towards women's issues. I definitely think that that's there.
Well, I think in our country and in countries that are, you know, more evolved, like European countries and so on, but I think, you know, there's a lot of bad stuff going on around the world in third world countries.
Yes, there's a lot a lot more respect for women. I mean, we hear, you know, just the very semblance of who women are. I mean, even in this country today, it is 2015, and some of the politicians, I won't name them, but who are running, right, we're dealing with that issue right now, where I cannot believe that we are outrightly hearing in the news that, you know, that people are bashing women, and it's still happening today, and so we have a ways to go there.
But I do like your point about cooking for your family or your friends, and there is a certain pleasure about cooking for people and serving, and that's fun. Then maybe somebody else will clean up.
Right. That's
exactly.
a good trick.
I always tell my dad too, you know, mom is doing it with good heart and everything. Oh, she's feeling happy, but why don't you help her with dishes or do something, you know, in return?
Well, your dad is maybe a little bit more old world, would you say?
That should be the case.
He's got that attitude.
He's in that attitude.
He's probably not going to change, I hate to tell you.
No, my dad is like from that generation where like women should be the housewife and men should go and work. And and my mom is happy to do that too. She's like,
that's
you know,
been her
she
role,
likes it,
right? And she's okay with that.
Yeah, she's okay with that. As long as she's okay, I don't mind too. Yeah,
that's the difference.
She's very
to me.
happy.
Well, I have grandchildren growing up, 2 boys and 2 girls. And I mean, I think they're pretty slick with the modern outlook and technology. Of course, they're fabulous with technology, but I think they're very, very open as both young men and young women to fulfilling your potential, exploring your opportunities. And I think kids today are growing up, certainly in this country, with a little wider perspective.
I think so.
But one thing I would like to hear is that, you know, still if some sacrifice has to be made, means it will be from women's side, you know what I mean? Always ladies first have to come forward and say, okay, I quit my job for kids. I do this for kids. You know, I don't know, it's been like for years and it's still going on. Even in my house, I had to give my job for my kids. It's been happening. And my friends, a couple of my friends too, they had to quit their job because they had small kids and husband has been traveling. Even now, if my husband has to travel, he can just pack up a suitcase and say, bye, Oma, I'm going. I can't do that.
No, you can't.
I have to be like, okay.
Do you think you might like to get back into the job market as your children become older?
Maybe. I have no clue, trust me. It's like still thinking about it.
Yeah, I can relate to that too. I worked part-time for many years until my older son was 12, and he's 16 now, so I've been working full-time, but certainly my career has taken a stall, and so those are still things I think that women are doing.
It's still happening, It's still the woman who might have to give up and move across country if the husband gets a job across country. I do have a cousin, though, who has a she has a high-powered job, and she has a husband who has now taken on the role of house husband and is doing quite a wonderful job and a hands-on job of raising those children. And of course, they're a younger couple, and they're doing it in a modern way.
And I think it's happening more and more, and you do see some women now more than before at the top of some very big corporations, the head of Facebook, the head of some big advertising agencies in New York, and more and more, I think, a few more that I can't think of at this moment, and those husbands have to pedal along after them, they do.
But it surely depends on the profession too. Typically those ladies would be doctors or somebody who is like, you know, who has to
an executive.
Exactly. So then I think husbands are willing to give up their time. Okay, you know, okay, now it makes sense for me to be there at home, and I take care because my wife is a doctor. She is a high-level executive, you know.
Right.
I think it has to do with income disparity
Exactly,
as well.
that's what I'm trying to say. When that comes, then men are willing to help them out.
I mean, most people don't have that option. Women have to work these days in a marriage because they can't. People can't really make it on one salary.
And we do see men doing more with children now in the younger generations coming up than like your parents' generation, my parents' generation. It was always the woman who did everything with the children, and that's changing. So you know, a better grade should be given for that as it's in the process of change.
I would say even in my office too, I think it would be a little uncomfortable to just assume that all the women do the cooking or are responsible for getting dinner. That would be kind of an awkward conversation because that's just not the way it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so to get back to this grading thing, what are we grading men in general?
Do we need to come up with a consensus?
I don't know.
What do you think? I think, well, Mel, what would be your grade?
Maybe I'll give them B.
B?
Yeah. And everything, because they help as well as take the financial responsibility, but so it comes to little understanding and everything. I think they have long ways to go. They don't understand our emotional portion, I believe.
No.
Definitely not.
Well, I guess I would say in general, because I'm thinking of some people that are not as evolved, I would say like C+ or B-. This is not my personal experience, but and then I think around the world we're looking at D- and F into some of these third world countries. It's really scary.
What about you, Ali?
What about
You're asking
me?
us?
I think as a mother of 2 boys, you know, and I feel. I guess I hear what Merle is saying, and I really believe in that too. We have a long way to go, and when you hear some of the atrocities and you know some of the things that just men have been behind, and some of and the power associated with that, that brings my scale a lot lower. But in general, if I could answer, surrounded by my life, my experiences, I would say I'm going to be on the higher side. I'm going to go an A. I think I've been surrounded by some good people and have had some great experiences. But I think we have a ways to go with that A.
Well, you know, on my personal level, I would do this. I would also do an A.
I would too, in the B+ range from my personal experience. But I would also want to claim immunity from being graded myself. I would be more wary of that.
Well, this has been a fun discussion, and we are now at the end of it. So thank you. Not too bad for a surprise question.
Wow, that was kind of a tough one too.
It was. Well, Merle, again, we want to thank you for being with us today.
It's such a pleasure. I really enjoyed meeting all of you, and
thank you.
I'm waiting to see your light suitcases on your next trip.
Okay, we're set with that. And Nadia and Uma, thank you again for being with us. And we thank you for being with us today on It's a Woman's World, and we hope to see you next time.